Hello, welcome back to Bill's Workbench. I have got the tie-ray model holder thing, whatever it's called. Stand, work stand. Yeah, that's it, work stand. I've got it on the bench today. I'm going to upgrade it because I want to. I use these quick release ball heads for all of my camera equipment, so I thought, let's put one of those on this, and then I can tilt and rotate and do whatever I want to with this thing. Also, I'm going to put magnets on the bottom, and then I can stick it to my metal tray. Then it won't go anywhere. So that's the plan. Let's get started on this great adventure. There is the ball head. And that's going to go on like that somehow. So it is a big 3/8 of an inch thing, and then I've got a 1/4 20 adapter. And this is a 4mm bolt or screw or whatever those are called. So that's not going to fit in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat. I'm going to JB weld this thing with the screw in it into there. We're going to see how that works. So that's how I'm going to attach the bottom piece. Then I'm going to screw that in. And that'll go in just like that. And then the top piece, because I really don't need it to quick release. I could probably use this quick release somewhere else. Let's remove this top piece. Okay. And then what I can do is I'm going to design and print a piece for the top here that'll go in and connect like that. And then I can make it any height I want. So we'll use the Alibre CAD. My friends at Alibre reached out after my video and said, hey, why don't you make some more videos? We'll give you some software. So they did. And now I'm going to. So we're going to be designing that top piece in Alibre CAD and printing it out and then assembling it. And while that's happening, I'm going to do the JB Weld part. I think it's going to be JB Weld. It's either going to be JB Weld or just regular old epoxy. Depends on what I've got. Alright, we're going to use this. Liquid nails to put that on. Super glue would work with this. You put baking soda in it. If you're interested in a video on that, let me know. I learned this from Thomas Johnson Furniture. Always make sure you can clamp it down before you glue it. So, these pieces here like this. What I want to do is try to hold that in place for when I glue it. It's probably overkill, but you never can know, right? Okay, so there's that. Okay, and then that, and we'll stick the, whoa, okay, I'm going to and then put that on there like this. Fantastic. And then I'll get this off of there like that. And a little bit more cleaning up. Now what I'm worried about is, I'm worried about the clamp sticking to the glue. So I'm going to put a piece of tape on there. Then we'll clamp it. Yeah. Okay, then that's got to sit overnight. Super. Now I need to measure this. Alright, so this thing is going to be great. What I need is sit on top. So it's from a bottom view, it's going to be a circle that is 16, yep, 16 millimeters in diameter. And this piece is 7 mil. Probably make that a little bit bigger. That is 11 mil. And how deep is it? 2.86 mil. So if we look at a side view, this is 2.86 millimeters. So I want this piece to be round with that hole in it, and then it's going to have a hole in there that is, that's an M4. Yep. That's got to be 4 millimeter. So I want a piece that sits on top of that like this, screw down in there, and that would screw into there. That is the plan. So let's jump over to our Alibre Atom 3D and get that drawn up, and we'll 3D print it. Let's get started drawing in the plastic piece that'll fit on top of this, and then we can mount this to it. And so we're going to model something in Alibre Atom 3D. So let's get started in there. I've got my drawing of what I want to draw. I've got Alibre open. We'll create new. All right, we got Alibre open, and what I'm going to do first is I want to set the properties so that I am running in metric, because that's what my printer likes to print in, and that's what I've been measuring in lately. We'll go to the front view, and that'll give us the 3D view, and I've got my ZX plane, which is the one that goes up, and so that's the one I want to draw in my first part. There are 3 parts to this model. Yes, the first part is this outside part, and that is the main body of the part. Usually, when I draw things, I draw the main body first. The next part is this hole right here. That's the hole that the screw is going to go in to screw into the ball head. So that screw needs to be able to slide through there and screw in properly. It's going to be a 4 millimeter screw. I want to give myself enough clearance so that that screw goes in there and then it pulls everything tight. I don't want it to thread through there. So we're going to make that a little bit bigger than 4. The next part is this part here that we cut out, and that matches the top of the ball head. We're going to make that a little bit bigger than that part needs to be, because it's not going to matter too much, because it's just holding it. It's not a high torque situation. So we're going to make that bigger so that it fits and we don't have to keep doing this over and over and over again. So here we go. We're going to go into sketch, and we're going to sketch on the ZX plane, or the top plane. And then we'll zoom in, and we're going to draw in a circle. And I want to click that box right there that signifies the center of the screen. And this is the diameter of the circle. So the diameter is 16. And there is my circle. So now I'm ready to extrude that. We're going to be doing we had those 3 parts. We're going to be doing those 3 parts in 3 steps. First, we're going to create the outside part with an extrusion. Then we'll do a void. Let's see, is that what they call it? I don't know what they call it. We'll find out what they call it. So we will say deactivate sketch because we're done with the sketch. And it's called a cut. Okay. So the first part is that, and then we'll do a cut for the circle, and then another sketch line for the cut for that piece there. All right, I've got that. I want to go ahead and extrude it, and I want that to be how high? 8 millimeters high. So I'll change my depth here to 8. I'll hit enter, and now I have an 8 millimeter deep, 16 millimeter wide cylinder. And now I'm ready to get started drawing. I need to draw in my hole that goes all the way through. So I'll activate my sketch. And I'm just going to pick on the face of my part. Then that's going to rotate it and bring me into that spot. I want a circle. And I want the circle to start at the center there. And it's going to be a 4.25 millimeter circle in diameter. That should give me enough clearance in order to get that screw through there without it actually threading in. I will deactivate the sketch, and now I can see that I have an extrusion and a sketch and another sketch. So now what we're going to do is take a look at this in 3D again. There's that part. I want to go ahead and do a extrude on the cut side. So we have an extrude on the add material. We have an extrude on the remove material. So that's the one I want to do. I'll pick my circle and my depth. Yeah, my depth goes all the way through, so I'll say OK. And now when I look at this in 3D, I can see I have that circle going through there like that. Now we're going to do our next cutout. But before we do that, we can see here we have our features. So over on the side here, these are our different parts that we made. And that's the main outside part, and that's the little hole that we made for the screw to go through. What's nice about Alibre is it's parametric. That means I could go back to this sketch right here and change the diameter of that outside circle of the cylinder if I wanted to. So let's right click and rename, and we're going to rename the extrusion. We're going to call this the main part. And then we'll do that one, and we'll right click and rename, and we'll call that the 4 millimeter screw hole. Okay. And now I'm ready to get started on the next sketch. So we'll activate sketch. I want to go on this face. And what we're going to do is draw in a line from about there to about here, 90 degrees. Good. So now we've got our first line in there. Whoops, I hit enter instead of escape. So I will, with my select, I hit escape a couple times. With that now selected, I'll hit the delete key, and I deleted that. I want to offset this. It needs to be 7 millimeters. I want to give myself a little bit more space, so I'm going to offset it 4 millimeters on each side, which will give me a total of 8. So we'll use the offset, and we're going to select the object's offset, that one, and we're going to offset it at a distance of 4. We'll say OK, and there it is. That's that line right there. We'll click on this line. Well, we don't have to click on it. We can go back to offset, click on the line again. This time we're going to pick flip direction, and that'll put it on the other side. So now I have my 2 there. We've got this line drawn here, and I've got this line drawn here. Now I need to get this arc here. So let's get that. That's going to be a circle. So we'll do circle. We'll start it at the center, and we'll go out, and that needs to be 11 millimeters long. So we're going to make it 12. And there's that circle just where I want it to be. Now we're going to pick we're going to hit escape a couple times to go back to select up here. And we'll pick that guy and delete. And then we will trim. So I'll say trim, and I want to trim that part away, that part, of that part, of that part, of that part, and that part. So I've trimmed those parts away. And now I'm going to deactivate the sketch because I've deleted the one in the center. If you don't delete the one in the center, it's going to give you an error. So if you get the error, it's probably because you forgot to delete the one in the center. So now we're going to do a hole out of that. So we're going to extrude the hole. It's going to extrude that sketch. And I don't want to go all the way through because then it won't work. Or it actually would work, but I don't want to go all the way through. I only want to go 3 millimeters deep. So change it from 8 to 3. There we go. And then that is the, I don't know what that's called. We're going to call that the cutout because I can't think of a better name. The neat thing is you can rename it as you come up with better names. So there's our part in Alibre CAD. So we'll go ahead and save our work because we're happy with that, and we'll give it a good name. We'll give it, we'll call it ball head adapter. Ball head work stand adapter. Yeah, that's a good name. We'll copy that. And we'll save. Now why did I copy that? Because the next thing I'm going to do is file, and I'm going to export as a STL file. That's what you 3D print with. And we're going to call it the same thing. Oh, it automatically did. I didn't need to do a copy paste. Because sometimes you have to copy paste the names in there for it to remember. So I'll hit save. And now we'll just say, oh, we'll just accept all the defaults. And there we go. We've created our part in Alibre CAD. We're going to print it out on the 3D printer and get this thing assembled. All right, I got all my parts laid out. Here is that part that we printed. It came out just fine. I'm happy with the results, and it fits on here. Whoa. And it fits on here just fine and dandy. So yeah, look at that. Pretty neat, huh? It only took 3 objects to draw that, or 3 sketch lines to draw that. 3 sketch lines, 1 extrusion, and 2 subtractions, or removals, or whatever you want to call it. All right, so I've got the base. I went ahead and epoxied that, this part in. The reason I epoxied that is because if I ever want to take this apart and put it back the way it was, I can do that. If I'm happy with this piece and this is the way I want to go with it, I probably just would have put a 1/4-20 in there and screwed it in from the bottom. I have my magnets all set, ready to go, and the clamps ready to go, so we'll do that. And we've got that. So we'll do the magnets and the gluing last. So let's get this put on. So we'll screw this onto here. And if you're trying to screw that on and it's slipping, you know, where it's like that, see you got to tighten up the base, and then you can screw it on. I'm not worried about where these degree markers go because I'll never use that. And we'll put this on here, and I have my screw ready to go. So this is an M4 countersunk screw, and it is approximately, let's see, 10 mil. Yeah, it's a 10 millimeter or 9 millimeter depth screw. So that's how the top is going to go on. So I've got my 3D printed piece. I'll put that here. I'll get that here like that. And then we'll get our 2.5 millimeter and we'll screw that in. There we go. So now I've got my ball head on there. I can loosen it up. And then I can rotate this however I want it to go to hold something up. So that's pretty nifty. I can do it like that so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, whatever, however I want to go. Once I get it figured out how I want it to be, I can then lock it into place. the next thing I want to do is, because this was pretty light and flimsy, it's not that way now. It's actually not bad. It's not heavy, but it's not light either. It's gonna hold its place. But I want to put the magnets on the bottom so that I can stick it to my metal plate here. And this metal plate I'm using, and I've built my machine jacks. They stick right to that. So I want this to be able to stick to that if I want to as well. And that's just going to give it a little bit more, make it a little bit more sturdy, because this plastic plate is pretty heavy. And then I could stick it to the top of a toolbox, or wherever I want to stick that thing to. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'll get these off of here. Need to get that residue off of there. Oh, look at that stuck to me. There we go. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Gooby Gone works all the time. Okay, there's that. That's ready to go. Now I'm ready to put these magnets on there. I need to super glue them into place, though. I've got my Gorilla Glue. And not sponsored. And we will get one. I want to make sure I put them in the same way. So north, south, and so on and so forth. So we will put some glue on there. About there. And then we'll clamp it down. Oh, look at that. You gotta be careful with that, don't you? Okay. All right, we'll let that sit for a while, and then we'll be done.